Good day, everyone. Today, at the request of a viewer, I'm going to share my thoughts on UEX Corp. One point I do want to make about UEX Corp is it is a holding of the URA ETF. So if there's a day where there's big redemptions from URA, at the end of the day, they may be forced sellers, giving you the potential opportunity if you put a bid in under the current price to potentially get hit when it's auto forcing the redemptions of the ETF and thus forcing the sale of some of the components. This could be a noticeable difference, but this is just an idea that something I've noticed with regards to the components of that ETF if you did want to buy something that it holds. Now, UEX, simple enough, Uranium Exploration Corp. That's what they uh, are named. That's what they have done. And right now, they have plenty of money. That being said, right now, it doesn't seem like they're looking for uranium. Right now, it looks like the bulk of their focus is looking for cobalt, which could be good, but I'm not sure how I feel about that, and I'll get into it later. So I don't really want to get into the whole cobalt discussion too deeply because that's frankly not what I wanted to talk about either here or elsewhere right now, at least. But historically, the price of cobalt has been significantly lower than the price of uranium. Now, if that will continue is anybody's guess. I mean, it might not. But if you look right now, the price of cobalt is about $19 a pound, and the price of uranium, even massively depressed, is $29 a pound. And yet, they're looking for cobalt in the highest grade uranium area in the world, and they're focusing on their resource that they have right now, which is 3.2 million pounds, as opposed to them having 66 million pounds of uranium. Um, I'm not sure how much sense that makes to me in their current search. Now, shifting back to U308, which is more of a focus of mine, let's say, um, if you look, they have a few Athabasca Basin, I would call it B or C grade deposits, some multiple million pounds, say 33 million pounds, I think another one 66 million pounds that they have part of. So this looks like some decent value at just purely a pounds in the ground game or thesis, but then it also is spread over multiple deposits. Now, one important thing that I think is crucial in understanding the difference between these deposits and something like Arrow or Triple R, which they're really not exactly on the same scale, but the importance is UEX Corp's deposits were discovered much earlier, meaning they're probably going to be ready for this bull in terms of being permitted at least, and likely some are in areas where they might have access to a previously built mill. So those are definite advantages. But unfortunately, this is where my opinion of them kind of splinters. One would think if they made these discoveries a long time ago that they would be ready for the next uranium bull market. However, they don't seem to be advancing their projects. And whether you think that that's because they don't want to have to raise money at lower uranium prices in order to advance the projects or not, it seems to me that although they could probably get their PEA, feasibility studies, so on, done in a few years, they haven't really been advancing their projects. So despite having all this time, they still don't seem ready to me. Now, one thing I will mention is in a report from 2011, they refer to a costly freezing, which makes sense because their deposits are mostly underwater and there's other issues. But they do talk about base cases being north of $60 for extraction. And now this is not a PEA or anything like that. This is just an initial technical report. But um, that's not necessarily super conducive to early stage bullishness in the uranium market. Now, could it be a leverage play later? Probably, if the uranium bull gets that long and that thorough. Now, while I believe that the assets that UEX Corp has are probably undervalued, and if they got bought out, this is probably a huge winner, I'm just not sure what the buy thesis for UEX Corp is. They should, I mean, it feels like if the uranium price goes crazy, they should have some potential beta later in the bull, like I mentioned right before. But the the lack of follow through on the projects by the management it just drives me crazy. They're obviously good explorers. They've found multiple deposits, but they just find them and then what? They just dilute what they found and look for more. And, you know, sure, that seems to work. And in fairness, it's not necessarily been a market where you can sell your projects, but I don't know. It's just the management is now looking for cobalt in the Athabasca Basin. I mean, obviously they found some, but really? It's a really interesting case because I look at this thing twice in 2 different days, and I think, first time I think, what are these guys doing? And the second time I think, well, these guys have some great value here, and they're obviously great explorers because they just keep finding stuff. So I don't know. Are they looking for cobalt? Are they looking for uranium? Are they selling the cobalt to look for uranium, or are they selling the uranium to look for cobalt? I have no idea. Now, as to what a buy thesis for these guys might look like, is in 2011, post Fukushima, the Rough Rider deposit was bought out for $11.28 a pound. And for context, the Rough Rider deposit was between the size of these the two main deposits of UEX Corp. So if you were to assume a premium of 11, or say you were to assume a price of 11.28 a pound, currently their assets are trading at about, I don't know, 81 cents a pound. So I mean that's, a big gain, but again, as I mentioned before, that's across two assets. If only one of the assets gets bought out, it's significantly less, and even then, that's expecting a bull market premium. Now, will stuff like this happen? Probably. Will it happen to them? I don't know. Now, in conclusion, while I don't see this becoming a core position of mine, I do see decent risk reward setup at current prices being 13.55 cents US or 17 cents Canadian. It does look like the cobalt selling has brought it down more than it should. Whether that's warranted or not is a different question, but I could see myself buying around these levels. Um, it could, I think it could easily go up to, well, 25, 28 cents US or something without too many, without a uranium breakout, and at which point I might look to reduce my exposure to this and maybe reassess based on what else there is. But again, it would be a smaller position if I were to do it. And again, wait for an opportunity, maybe the end of the day, where there's some forced selling from URA. But alas, it is not for everyone. Now again, everyone, thanks for watching. Lots of respect if you made it this far. Again, if you want to see any other specific stock, or if you disagree or agree with this analysis, or you don't like this company, or have some secret insight into what the management's doing that I couldn't figure out, feel free to let me know. Until then, have a great day.